TV. Today is Friday, the 13th of March, 2015. My name is Matt Bernat, filling in for Frank Fortunato, who is off today. As always, you can follow more news updates on our Twitter account at Catex TV. Executives at RSA Insurance Group plc's Irish unit wept as they recalled how their former boss, Philip Smith, pressured them, an employment hearing heard. Men were weeping into their hands crying, quoted Derek Walsh, RSA's group counsel said in an employment appeals tribunal on Thursday in Dublin, in relation to an internal probe into how the company handled the process of setting aside money for large claims. Quote, men shaking with fear when they were talking, not about the reserving issue, not about the issue that was going to get them into trouble, but talking about why they had to do it, he said. They were talking about Mr. Smith. Walsh's evidence came in the fourth day of Smith's constructive dismissal case. Smith left RSA in 2013 as the company investigated accounting issues at the Irish unit. Smith told the tribunal earlier this week that an internal company report which effectively accused him of bullying amounted to character assassination and did not match reality. During the hearing today, Rory O'Connor, the unit's former chief financial officer, said Smith had been involved in fixing reserves for some large insurance claim below levels recommended by staff. Smith has also denied this allegation. O'Connor said that while Smith could be charming and funny, he was scared of him. He could be emotional and aggressive, O'Connor said of Smith at the hearing, adding that he had sought counseling while employed at RSA. I felt that if I had whistleblown and had been unsuccessful, my life could have been made very difficult in finding another job, he said. RSA is still waiting the results of an Irish regulatory probe following the episode and a £200 million capital injection in Ireland, which also cost former group CEO Simon Lee his job. The Irish unit cost RSA another £100 million in 2014, taking its total bill since the accounting irregularities were first reported to about £300 million. A westward change of course put populated areas directly into the path of Cyclone Pam and its destructive 270 km/h winds, according to relief workers. The UN Office for Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said in a release there were unconfirmed reports of deaths in Vanuatu's northeastern islands after Cyclone Pam moved off its expected track. The Category 5 cyclone had average wind speeds over 250 km/h with gusts up to 205 mph, according to the office. It said the periphery of the eye of the storm had passed over the islands that are home to several thousand people and was expected to hit or come close to the island of Efate, home of the capital Port Vila. Located about a quarter of the way from Australia to Hawaii, Vanuatu has a population of 267,000 spread over 65 islands. About 47,000 people live in the capital. The winds are likely to cause severe damage to the nation's buildings. Alice Clements, a spokeswoman for the relief agency UNICEF, who is in Port Vila, said earlier Friday the capital was like a ghost town as people took shelter. She said the pelting rain was blown horizontally by the wind. Reinsurance companies such as Munich Re and Swiss Re can open branches in India after the Rajya Sabha on Thursday passed the insurance laws. Large reinsurance companies are now present in India, but most of them, including Munich Re, Swiss Re, and Hanover Re, operate as service companies in India. Some, like Score Re, operate differently. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority does not regulate these reinsurers. A new policy does not specify capital requirement for these companies to open branches in the current country. The only prescription is that parent reinsurance companies have a net of 5,000. After the amendment, the IRDA will formulate norms to regulate companies to open branches in the country. Top executives of Point Re Ltd have stressed that the Bermuda-based firm is a real reinsurance company as U.S. tax authorities seek to clamp down on what they consider to be a hedge fund investment vehicle masquerading as reinsurers. Third Point, founded by Dan Loeb's fund of the same name, is one of several reinsurers founded by hedge funds in Bermuda, a group that tend to take on more risk than traditional reinsurers with investments and less risk on the underwriting side. The United States Internal Revenue Service is weighing tightening regulation for these companies. Anyone that spent a day in our office would clearly see that we're a real reinsurance company, Chris Coleman, Third Point Re's chief financial officer, said at a conference in Boston yesterday, according to Bloomberg News. The U.S. Treasury Department said in a letter to Senator Ron Wyden that it's considering ways to end a loophole that allows companies to route investments through low-tax countries. Third Point Re, whose investment portfolio is overseen by Mr. Loeb, sold shares for $12.50 apiece in an initial public offering in 2013. Yesterday, the shares closed at $14.29 in New York trading. By investing in our company, you gain Dan Loeb's Third Point investment strategy, Mr. Coleman said, because his funds are closed to additional investors. This is the only way to gain that. The United States Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, the administrator of the National Flood Insurance Program, is prepared to reopen all 144,000 flood-related claims from 2013 Superstorm Sandy, following allegations that insurers participating in the NFIP may have denied claims based on false engineering reports. All Sandy claimants are to be notified by mail to inform them of the opportunity for review, and FEMA has also pledged to make changes at senior National Flood Insurance Program positions. Among the many necessary reforms, I am pleased that FEMA Administrator Craig Fugate and Deputy Associate Administrator for Insurance Brad Kaiserman have heard our call and will reopen all of the claims, a critically necessary move, said David Miller, the FEMA Associate Administrator. Compare.com CEO Andrew Rose announced news of his firm's partnership with Google to bring direct sales of auto insurance to California and eventually the rest of the nation. The way Valen Analytics president and CEO Dax Craig describes it, Google's move into insurance with Google Compare for auto insurance is an all-aboard wake-up call and smell the coffee for the insurance industry. The complexity of what Google is doing with this latest endeavor and figuring out where this partnership will go and how exactly it's structured can't be overstated. The only thing that comes to mind is shock and awe, Craig said. I think everybody was floored. Google's plans for insurance have been talked about since the beginning of the year. However, the reality that Google has officially entered the insurance market can be seen of the dawning of the faces of many audience members pondering their ramifications, he said. Everybody went silent to think about how that impacted them and what it meant for the business, Craig said. Google's announcement that it was partnering with Compare.com and CoverHound, which made headlines last week, including the unveiling of an online comparison tool that includes a list of major carriers that have signed off on as partners. The tool enables auto insurance shoppers to punch in a zip code, hit enter, which brings up a form for basic information like name, date of birth, and some other basic stuff. The site offers visitors a chance to speed things up via an autofill feature. The ease of use from the world's foremost internet search provider in partnership with a group of large carriers and comparison providers may have broader implications for the future of insurance distribution. Asked to provide any details on future plans for this story, Google spokesperson Joe Osborne declined replying to an email request for any elaboration with we rarely make forward-looking statements about our products. That is the news for today. Thank you for watching. If we have any important breaking news, you can see it on our Twitter account at Catex TV. Thank you and have a good weekend.